Right, well, welcome everybody to another energy update from Platform Housing Group. Here to advise on what the price hikes in energy prices might mean for you and what you can do about it. This is all designed to help understand the anxiety currently around the topic right now and what the best course of action is now and further down the line. Joining me again are Georgina Bailey-Allen, who's team manager in the Successful Tenancies department, and Karen Adam, who's one of the advisors in the team. Hello to you both. Hope you're all right.
Hello, Rich.
These guys both work to help and guide our customers through managing their tenancy with us to help keep things as hassle-free as possible. Tricky, obviously, in the current climate, but we're going to try and look at the latest developments this afternoon on some of the price hikes, what the government are up to, what the energy companies are up to as well, and where us as customers all stand on it. Because as we've got more and more into these, we realised, I think, how much this applies to every single one of us. We have some frequently asked questions to come as well, and hopefully can point in the direction and various forms of help and assistance that are already available too. First things first, Karen, and we're starting this week with a question from a lot of people. Where have all the standard variable tariffs gone?
Well, Rich, they are still there, but the energy companies are being a little bit sneaky and not publicising them. Every energy supplier has got a standard variable tariff, and anyone that's coming to an end on their fixed price tariff that they're on currently will automatically by default roll onto them. But there's a lot of correspondence going around to current customers inviting them to choose a tariff, but they're not actually including the standard variable tariff. So you might need to ask about it, so don't get caught up by those fixed price tariffs, because they are still the most expensive ones and will be going forward.
We're finding this is a bit of a trend, really, aren't we? That in amongst all this, the energy companies are doing their utmost to not catch us out, I suppose, but technically, they know we're all busy and a little bit worried, and if we see something that looks good, we're likely to just go for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of the rabbit in the headlights. So once you see what they're offering, you just think, oh, I need to get one of those. But because they're not displaying the standard variable, you don't realise that those tariffs are actually more expensive than the standard variable. The standard variable is still the cheapest tariff to be on, and will be once the price cap goes up in April.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best piece of advice, isn't it, Karen, around this current situation? Because we've just been talking, haven't we, about examples of people we know having received emails with a couple of options for fixed deals, and actually, if those people have the time to just kind of step back, have a look, see what's happening with the standard variable for that energy company, they'll get a really good feel for the kind of the bigger picture, I suppose, isn't it, with the charges for that company. But it's we are all busy, we're lots going on in people's lives. If we get an email through from our energy company, we will assume in good faith that they are just trying to help us out, giving us a heads up, giving us a bit of insider information. Oh, look at these deals we've got for you, and it's easy. I have done it. So with my energy company. So I think it's just about taking that little bit extra time, isn't it? And just having a look into the prices. And as we talked about in last week's episode, having a look at some of those figures, like standing charges and things, and seeing what the kind of figures are for those, because they're not always there for us to see, are they?
No, it's all very hidden, and it's very complicated. So you really do need to get into the detail. Every energy supplier has license obligations, and one of those obligations is for them to be honest and upfront with their customers. So if you contact your supplier and say, right, what is the cheapest tariff that you have for me? By their license obligation, they must tell you. So they will have to, come up and tell you that the standard variable is cheapest for you. They will try and drive you onto the fixed price because they're trying to recoup some costs. But yeah, so, you know, if you're not sure, contact your energy provider and ask them.
I want to just check in on a little bit of good news, which seems an odd phrase to use in these, but there is some around there, about loyalty penalties. What were these and what's happening with them?
Right, so with your energy tariff, you would assume that if you've been with your energy supplier for quite a while, that you're getting the best deal that they can offer. That is far from the truth, and it's same in most industries like insurance, etc. But what companies do is they entice new customers by offering some tasty cheaper tariffs or cheaper insurance, whichever it is. And energy companies are doing the same thing, but Ofgem or they've either brought it in or they're bringing it in very soon, that this loyalty penalty must stop. And it's called a loyalty penalty because you're getting penalised by being a loyal customer, and it stops you shopping around. So new customers can be offered these special tariffs, but existing customers have to be offered them as well. And even if you are on a fixed price tariff with your energy supplier, you are allowed to switch to one of their tariffs and without paying the exit fee, as long as you stay with that same supplier. So it's good news. There's nothing out there at the moment with regards to cheaper tariffs, but it is good news for hopefully in the summer when the prices start to come down again, and there will be some competition out there and there will be some better tariffs available. So at least it's ready for the future.
That is really good news, isn't it? Because we see that so often, you know, not just with energy companies, with other providers as well. You see all those great deals out there for new customers, and then you think, oh, okay, I'll phone up and take advantage of that. And that's just not an option because you're already a customer.
Yeah. So that's definitely going to be ending.
Very good news.
Yes, there you go. We like saying that phrase every now and then. And also, Karen, give us a bit of the latest speculation you've heard from the government as well.
Yeah, a little bit political, and we're not going down the political route, but there is speculation that Boris is going to tackle the big oil giants that are making all this money and do something about the cost of oil, because oil is what determines the cost of energy. Not sure if it's a bit of a vote grabber, because Labour have been spouting that if they get into power, they're going to take it on and they'll tackle all these oil magnates and you know, the big business. Whether or not it's possible, I'm not quite sure, but at least if Boris is talking about that and looking to do that, that will impact in a positive way. Because, you know, we've heard how much money these oil companies are making, but it's all hidden away, and they're manufacturing and selling to the suppliers, their own suppliers, you know, at a high rate. So it looks like the suppliers aren't making any money, which is why the government aren't getting the tax from it. So if they can target the oil companies, it'll be good news for everybody.
But that obviously won't make much of a difference about what we're experiencing right now, will it? They can't have that much, excuse me, of an immediate impact.
No, it won't have an immediate impact, but it will have an impact on future price caps, because the price cap can actually come down. It doesn't just go up. So the price cap, the way that the government work the price cap is they look at the price of energy for the previous 6 months and then work out what the price cap needs to be or can be. And the reason that it's gone up so high at the moment, and it went up again or previously, is because the cost of oil had risen dramatically. Another little thing that Ofgem are looking at doing is actually they review the price cap quarterly, but only implement it 6 monthly. They're now looking at having a greater frequency of being able to implement price caps, which means that when the price of oil comes down, they could actually drop that price cap to a lower amount, which again would impact on energy companies and the prices that they're allowed to charge. So that is a positive thing.
That is positive, isn't it? Because that means that if it's quarterly, then it'll take less time for positive changes to feed through to us.
Definitely, yeah. And they'll be looking at the price of oil between February and August, I believe it is, for the next price cap, which is due in, or price cap review, which is due in October. But if they're actually increasing the frequency, they could impact on that price cap a lot sooner as the price goes down for the summer. So it's more reactive and responsive.
Careful, that's 2 bits of good news.
I know. Goodness me.
Well, I was going to say let's change all that, but no, I know we wanted to just sort of highlight a few things that, you know, we've always in all the advice we've tried to give, or in all the things we've tried to point out, that, you know, there are some simple changes, things we can do at home or just to be wary of that might affect our usage. And we did want to kind of point out a few of the common things we do at home and try and make people more aware of exactly how much that costs you to do things like showers, kettles, etc.
Yes, definitely, and especially since the you know, cost of electricity and gas are going up dramatically. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about how much things cost and which items are energy hungry. And I think you gave a classic example, Rich, about not sure how long you spend in the shower. But when people realise how much a shower costs, so for example, a shower, for a 20-minute shower, so if you put your electric shower on and you leave the water running for 20 minutes, that is 3 kilowatts of electricity. So that, with the new price cap, would cost 84 pence for a 20-minute shower, which doesn't sound a great amount of money, but if you have a shower every day, and there's other people in the family that also have a shower every day, you work out what that would cost you, £1.68 a day per couple, if you like, and multiply that by the week. That is a lot of money. And then, of course, you've got VAT on top of that at 5%. So,
and your standing charge as well when you get to the end of the month.
Yeah. So cooking, well, you know, people stick the oven on. That is a 3 kilowatt oven, and it will go off and on, but because it's thermostatically controlled, but that is still 3 kilowatts, and 3 kilowatts is 84 pence, or will be with the new cap. So that's why, you know, one of the tips that we say is, if you're cooking, try and fill that oven up, put more stuff in there. So, you know, you could cook something for tomorrow's dinner at the same time while you're cooking your pie for today, and then just ping it in the microwave, you know, for a couple of minutes to warm it up the next day. Not everything can go in the microwave, I appreciate that, but microwave cooking is the cheapest way of cooking, far cheaper than, you know, using your oven. Each one of your rings is a kilowatt or more. The big ones are 1.5 kilowatts. So again, to have your ring on for an hour, that's 28 pence. So if you're cooking a Sunday roast and you've got 3 pans of vegetables on there for nearly an hour, you know, it's another 84 pence just to cook that meal. When if you use an electric steamer, you're talking about maybe 20 pence, and you can cook them all in one go. And then you don't burn the pan dry like I did the other day. Put it on, forgot about it, and I managed to make the peas rather black.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So we're not doing Karen's cooking habits after.
That's the first time I've done that for years. I don't normally do that, but I got distracted, and yeah.
Were you on Karen's calculator by any chance?
She was busy. She was either on the hotline or doing some research.
It is actually. I'll see a headline and I go smurfing, and I'll see a headline and I just get so absorbed. Time just goes out of the window.
It's during that work, isn't it, when you pop the kettle on to have a cup of tea?
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst thing. And I think you're quite guilty of that as well, Rich, aren't you? Popping the kettle on, boiling too much water.
I have changed my ways. I was pretty bad at guesstimating, but I do now. If I'm having a cup of tea and it's just me at home working by myself, I just fill the mug up with cold water and just put that in an empty kettle and just boil that.
Which is a really good shout, definitely.
It's surprising how much money it actually costs to boil that kettle, for the water to go cold, for you then to heat it up again or tip it out and put fresh water in. You know, it's ridiculous how much extra, because your kettle tends to be at least 2 kilowatts or maybe 3. So again, for every accumulative hour that you have that kettle on, that's another 84p. So those 84p's are racking up, aren't they?
I mean, we have all got that one person in our household who still fills it up all the way just for 2 cups. Haven't we, George?
Yes,
yes.
I've named
well.
and shamed, and it's not me.
It's not you. Yes, we know. And I know it's not something we can really go into too much detail on, but I just want to touch on people who might be worried about, I'm going to say the P word, the prepayment meters. What are the main worries there still?
Well, with the unaffordable cost of energy, it's going to get harder and harder and more unaffordable to be able to top your meter up. So, there's not a lot more you can do other than maybe look to see if you could change to a credit meter or a build account. You can then save probably about £90 a year on a direct debit dual fuel discount. And also the tariffs on credit accounts, on the build accounts, are actually better. You can't choose a tariff on a prepaid meter, but you can choose a tariff with a credit meter. So not everybody will want to come off prepayment meters because they're not very good for someone who struggles to budget. But there is a little bit of good news, because if you're really struggling, you can contact your energy supplier and they have the potential to put a little bit of credit on there for you, additional emergency credit, or raise your emergency credit threshold. It has to be paid back, unfortunately, but if you've got a really tight spot, then it'll help out that way.
Okay. I do remember us talking about that help, even if you're still on, whether it's prepayment or not, there is still that help available in various forms. We've got most of that, I think, covered off on the website, haven't we, George?
We have, yeah. So I am updating the hot topics space on our website on a weekly basis. So I've split it now under different headings. So there's a little bit of information about the current situation, a lot of the things that we've discussed in brief, and then there's some advice, and also where to kind of get financial assistance as well. So there's various schemes and funds that are out there. It's just a case of finding them. We've mentioned a few of them before. There are government-led ones, there are local ones, there are some, Karen, as well, aren't there, that you can find assistance through your own energy provider as well. They may have something actually in place. There's things like the warm home discount schemes and winter fuel, things like that. There's some information on that article, or links through to that information from that article on there. You'll also find these videos as well. So if you've been unfortunate enough not to have caught the first 3 yet, you'll be able to access them through there as well. So yeah, that is being reviewed constantly. As I say, as things change, things haven't changed dramatically, but it's just where we're finding out more about where to get advice and things like that. There's a couple of useful advice line numbers on there. There's a national one for the NEA on there. There's also for customers living in specific areas around Worcestershire, Birmingham, Solihull, Coventry, Warwickshire, Acton Energy, who provide advice, and they do have an advice line as well if anybody is really concerned about their current situation and needs to speak to somebody and get that kind of personal advice. All their details are on our website as well, and we're just looking all the time. The advisors in this team don't deal specifically with energy, but it kind of goes with the territory that if there's anything around and about, we can signpost people to it. So we're always looking for other little nuggets like Acton Energy, etc., to be able to help.
Cool. They'll always be there. All right. Well, look, thank you very much to both of you for today, and we'll see you again this time next week for our next one.
We will indeed.
Karen, you best go and check you haven't left any peas on the hob.
No, I'm back to using the steamer now.
Yes. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Take care.
Thanks, Rich. Bye.